Welcome back, everyone, to Common Sense Paranormal Media on the road with me, your host, Rick Hale. Just arrived here at Mount Thabor Cemetery, and as you can tell, it is an incredibly peaceful place. One would hardly think that there are ghosts here. However, that's not always the case, of course. Sometimes it's those out-of-the-way places that have a lot of spirits involved. So, I had probably driven past this area hundreds of times, if not thousands. I live very, very close to here, within 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the traffic, out here on Route 176. And as you can see in the background, nothing but cornfield. I know, Illinois, right? So as I said before, this is one of those places that is really just kind of off the beaten path. People really don't come to that much because they really don't think that there are even ghosts here. And that's not the case. Like, this place came onto my radar about 4 or 5 years ago. I went on one of those like ghost tours, and we hit several different places throughout Lake and McHenry County. And I had, like I said, I'd driven past this place hundreds, if not thousands of times. Growing up in the area, never even knew that there were ghosts here. So let's take a look around. As I said before, hardly terrifying. We got Mr. Patrick Duffy here, 1816 to 1891. So it kind of tells you, gives you an idea about how old this cemetery really is. And from what I understand, it dates back to the mid-1800s when the first people were buried here. Kind of a windy day, so you get the wind as well as the noise coming off of Route 176, also known as Liberty Street, to those of us in the area. So what are some of the ghost stories that are associated with Mount Thabor Cemetery? There is quite a bit, actually. And it really is surprising to some people that there are ghosts. And one of those spirits, ghosts, entities, what have you, that is commonly seen here is a glowing green mist. It has been reported for many years by people driving along this backcountry road right here, as well as along Route 176. And the place that it is seen most is right here by this big cross. And a lot of people do believe that this big cross right here is kind of an opening for the spirits to come in to our world and leave this world as well. And this huge green, glowing, amorphous blob, cloud, mist, whatever, is commonly seen around this cross as well as in this general area. Other spirits that have been seen here in this cemetery are sinister black shadows. I know that sounds kind of corny and a little on the common side. However, people do see that here, and they see them hiding behind the trees, darting in and out from around the tombstones that make up Mount Thabor Cemetery. As far as I know, nobody has ever actually been harmed or attacked by any of these entities here, but that's always why it's a good idea when you come here that you are respectful to the, to the dead. I guess you could, more or less. Always be respectful in any haunted place that you go to. Like this right here, this has got to be one of my favorite tombstones. And as you can see, over the years, there has been a fair amount of vandalism, as often is the case with a lot of these out-of-the-way cemeteries and graveyards. But I really love this one. I love the artwork on it. I'm not really a particularly religious person, but I love the cross on it and the shroud wrapped around it. I think it's a beautiful tombstone. Dark shadows and green mists aren't the only spirit activity that has been reported here at Mount Thabor Cemetery over the years. There has also been sounds like disembodied voices that just seem to come out of nowhere and call people's names and tell people, hey, why don't you walk over into the middle of Route 176? That is a story that I actually heard from somebody, that they were felt compelled to walk out of the cemetery and then walk into Route 176. And as you can see, it's extremely busy. So let's be careful of that. And other spirits that are seen here at Mount Thabor Cemetery, what sounds like children playing. Now, I know that that's kind of like, to some people, that's a little bit on the creepy side, the sound of children playing, but there are children that are buried here. And some of the people that are buried here are some of the oldest residents of this area, even before it was known as Crystal Lake. And, they have just as much right to be here as the adult spirits as well. A lot of people wonder, it's like, how does a place like this fall off the radar so easily? Ghost stories that are told here, and that there are occasionally ghost tours that maybe stop here. What is it exactly about this place that just kind of makes people forget? Well, I think that there's a couple of different things. One, according to, parapsychology, really the last place that should ever be haunted is a graveyard, because why would anybody want to stay where their body is buried? That's a good question, and that's actually one that I really do go back and forth with quite a bit. Two, we have some pretty famous haunted places, especially haunted cemeteries in this area, in the Chicagoland area, and one of them, of course, being my favorite, and it was one of the first videos that I ever did, was Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. That is one that kind of dominates the paranormal scene in the Chicagoland area. But really, a place like Mount Thabor Cemetery, it deserves greater attention. Not by fans, of course, but by people who take the study and investigation of the paranormal seriously. And it should be preserved for future generations who have an interest in the paranormal. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this really short visit to one of my favorite haunted places in the Chicagoland area and in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Very, very rural and small Mount Thabor Cemetery. So this is Rick Hale, your host with On the Road. Common Sense Paranormal Media. And as always, stay spooky.